being rescreened if they're getting on planes when and if the airport reopens?
The airport is not at this time opening. What we have done is all the screened passengers that were in the airport, we are moving them to safe areas as a precaution. And as soon as we can get those persons in our airport that were existing cleared out, we will then do another sweep of the airport and then possibly reopen the airport. But that will not occur for several hours. We are telling passengers to remain calm and expect delays.
I did see some planes taking off. Are those the planes that were waiting at the gates? You went ahead and sent them off?
Correct. Yes, we are moving the passengers as quickly as we can, the ones that have already been screened that were in other terminals or that were in Terminal 2. If the planes are there, we are getting those passengers moved as quickly as possible to clear this airport out and to actively investigate this crime scene.
And then just final question, just to be crystal clear, it's your best understanding from law enforcement, there was one shooter and one shooter only, and that individual is in custody.
That is correct. And the number of confirmed dead is 5, and the number of people that we have transported to area hospitals is 13. And so I'm giving that update. We have a confirmation of 5 dead. We have 13 that are being transported to area hospitals as a result of the shooting. And we are, in an organized manner, we are emptying our airport and we are securing our passengers to make sure that there are no further threats.
All right, Barbara Sharif, thank you so much for taking the time. Broward County Mayor there on this ongoing situation at the Fort Lauderdale International Airport. Gentlemen, you just listened to my conversation with the good Senator of Florida, Bill Nelson, and also with the mayor. Thoughts?
I don't want to point the fingers at people here, but the fact is that when you have an incident like this and you got people running out in the tarmac, you've got to have your people that are trained, that are out there in the tarmac, which are moving planes around and loading luggage. They need to be trained that in the event an incident like this happens, where to bring these people to. Direct them to a certain location, which is a safe location. It doesn't look like they did that here.
Well, let's ask someone who's actually standing on the tarmac right now. I understand that Charmaine Yost is on the tarmac. Charmaine, it's Brooke. Can you hear me?
Hey, Mark, I can hear you faintly.
Are you okay? First and foremost?
We are safe, but we landed in the middle of this absolutely surreal situation. I turned on my phone and had a breaking news headline, looked at it, and it said Fort Lauderdale Airport. And, when you fly a lot, it takes a minute to realize, wait, that's the airport that I'm landing in. So they haven't said anything to us. After we landed, we discovered that some of the people had been connected to Wi-Fi and didn't know what had happened, but just absolutely horrific news that 5 people had died. And now looking out the window, we can see the hundreds of people lined up on the tarmac just a few minutes ago, flashing lights with an ambulance leaving. So to be honest with you, everybody was very quickly tuning in to CNN. So, we've been following your coverage to find out what's going on. All they've told us from the airline is that the airport is closed and that we'll be here indefinitely. So,
Charmaine, just hang tight. I appreciate you and everyone sitting on that plane, just watching the news. And I understand as someone who flies a lot, you think, my goodness, that's the airport I'm actually flying into. Charmaine, thank you so much. I do want to read this tweet. This is from the Broward County Sheriff. Active search, unconfirmed reports of additional shots fired on airport property. Let me read that again. Active search, unconfirmed reports of additional shots fired on airport property. So that then could answer or start to answer some of our questions, right, Jonathan, on why people are running.
Well, exactly, but there should be procedures in place. To Harry's point earlier, it's easy for us to comment from New York on a dynamic situation in Florida, but what we're seeing here is people potentially running into danger. We don't know if that initial attack was a diversionary attack, or if there could be secondary attacks coming in from the air side. You have mass amounts of people going out onto the tarmac. We're seeing everybody just kind of lingering along. I mean, to me, that could be a potential secondary target. That's something that law enforcement now has to be concerned with. Looking at best practices, I mean, there are lockdown procedures, there are shelter-in-place procedures that should be in place for dynamic situations like that. that are ongoing right now, and it appears that a lot of those things weren't followed.
Let me jump back to the airport, Jonathan. Thank you so much. Jump back to the airport. Boris Sanchez is our correspondent there, near where the shooting had taken place. Boris, what have you learned since we last talked?
Brooke, it is still a fluid situation. We have not been able to get here on the ground, but they appear to be done with the sweep of the parking garage that we were just showing you across from the runway. But as you look toward the runway, you can see the evacuations are still underway. There are hundreds of people right now walking across the tarmac and over to hangars that are on the other side of the airport. And there are still people here on the lower level that are huddled together. Just a few moments ago, there was a family here that I saw laying on the ground. They were still very frightened by what they had seen just a few moments ago. As you had mentioned, there was screaming and there were uniformed officers running with very large weapons. We didn't really know exactly what was going on. Things have appeared to have calmed down since then. And obviously, as you mentioned, there were reports of another unconfirmed shooting. It's unclear at this moment if that was just people panicking and running when they saw these officers being mobilized, but it was just chaos. We saw people running in all different directions. People didn't know where to go. I saw people hiding behind some columns, thinking that things were happening behind them. Again, this all started at about 1 o'clock, where in the baggage claim area of the Delta terminal here at Fort Lauderdale International Airport on the lower level, just close to where we are right now, there was a report of shots being fired. We confirmed that there were several casualties. At least 8 people were rushed to the hospital. And since then, it's been just a mess here. We know that the ATF is on the way if they're not already here. The Broward County Sheriff's Office is here in force. We have several of their helicopters in the air right now. But there's no real organization that I can see in terms of what's happening on the level that we are on. There were a couple people huddled together just outside of Terminal 2, again, the upper level of where that shooting happened. They were speaking to law enforcement, and then from one moment to the next, those officers started running across the way. The airport here forms a loop, and it appeared that they were running into a parking garage, perhaps to another terminal. At this point, we don't know. But Brooke, we know that the governor of Florida, Rick Scott, is on the way here later. He's going to be briefed. Hopefully we can get a clearer picture of exactly not only what happened here, but what is actually happening right now, because there is a lot of confusion on the ground with people that are stranded here at Fort Lauderdale International Airport. Brooke.
Stay with me, Boris. I just want to tell our viewers on the right side of the screen, these are live pictures. So Fort Lauderdale Police, we know Broward County Sheriff's Department is there. I saw FBI, we know ATF as well, all being dispatched to help. Joint effort. You see that it's cordoned off at least this piece of the perimeter. Boris, do you see anyone else around you, any other family members just sitting there waiting at the airport for loved ones?
There's a family behind me. Let me ask them if they'd be willing to speak with us. Could you guys share what you're going through right now? They're not really interested in speaking to us, Brooke.
No worries.
Where I'm standing right now, most of the passengers are on the other side of us. I'm going to head over there and see if there's someone we can speak to, and we'll get back to you, Brooke.
Okay, perfect. We'd love to hear from some people. Boris, thank you so much. This is really where we are right now. We're just about the top of the hour. Let me just reset. If you are just joining us, whether you are on a plane and stuck on the tarmac there at Fort Lauderdale, or you're just watching like the rest of us watch this scene unfold. We know just about an hour or so ago, there was a shooting. A shooter that was just named by our Florida senator we just talked to, Bill Nelson, according to the head of the TSA, a man by the name of Esteban Santiago. Again, waiting on more confirmation on that. But in total, 5 people have been killed, 13 injured. They have been taken on stretchers to area hospitals. That's what we just heard from the mayor there of Broward County. This happened, from what we're understanding, in an unsecure area of the airport, either in the baggage claim area or the arrivals area. But an area where anyone could have access to that portion of the airport without those metal detectors and that kind of thing that you're so used to going through to get on a plane. The issue is why this happened. They're trying to get to the motive of that. At some point, we'll be able to talk to the suspect, the shooter, who is in custody, who is alive and in custody. He was shot in custody, and again, 5 dead, 13 injured. All of this unfolding at Fort Lauderdale. The interesting